having such a breakout 2015 and being at the Fighters Only Awards and everything that happened, what do you have looking forward to 2016? Once you get something such a great year, I mean, what do you hope for in the next? Like knockout of the year, belts. What's the next super goal for you besides belt and besides Conor?
I'm just keep winning, one step at a time, and just take how I took 2014, 2015, and keep that momentum coming in 2016, and take one step at a time. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. It's this is MMA, man. These little gloves, they can change. Things can change really fast. So I just want to take it one step at a time, and we see where it goes.
That's the thumb.
The thumb is great. I take off my cast next week Thursday, and before I put on the cast, he said that I'd probably be like a month of rehab, so pretty fast. I heard there's cards early June, late May. I want to get on one of those cards, and we see what happens. I want to get this taken care of, get right back into the mix, and just get in there. If you don't fight too long, people start forgetting who you are. So.
As much as you probably hate it, because you do like staying active, did you need this break a little bit just to sort of push back a little, regroup, see what happens in the division, take a breath before you go forward? Because there's not many fights that make a lot of sense for you.
Yeah, for sure. Like you guys said, with that whole Conor growing up issue and Jose wanting his rematch, and they got Frankie, did what he did against Chad. So. Yeah, of course, and not only that, not only the picture-wise, but also my body-wise. I had back-to-back years of 4 fights, and I was doing PT on some existing injuries, and we found some stuff out. It was like, oh man, we need to fine-tune the little things. Some little things was kind of out of place. So I get to relax, spend a little bit more time with my family, to spend time with my wife, take my son to the movies, eat popcorn and junk food and, all that fun stuff. So it's great, it's great, but at the end of the day, I want to fight 3 times this year, maybe 4 again. We see what happens, we see what UFC want to do, and we see how my body can hold up.
Who's on Holloway's hit list? Who do you want?
There's 4 guys in front of me, and all 4 can get it. So it is what it is. I have no preference. I'll fight whoever. A lot of guys is telling me that I fought nobody yet. So give me one of those 4 guys in front of me. I'd love to show them wrong. I love to prove them wrong, and taking one step at a time, like I said, and get out there and show the division, show the world, and show everyone why I belong here.
What are your thoughts on Conor McGregor getting the belt in the 45 division and then going right up to 55 before defending that title and going for another title while still holding the featherweight belt? What are your thoughts on all of that?
Hey, kudos to him. If or when I get my gold belt, I'm gonna tell Dana, let me fight for the 55 belt now, we see what he says, it's kudos to him, you can't hate on one man's success, it's not cool, and he's doing what he said he's been doing, and more respect to him, it is what it is, and I really don't care, I'm focusing on myself, focusing on Max Holloway, all that kind of stuff really doesn't impact my life too much, I got other fights that I need to worry about too, so, when that fight happens, that fight comes, we can talk about that fight, but right now, we see what happens. I just want to focus, get better, become more of a complete mixed martial artist, and show the world that I want to leave this world, leave this place when I'm done. I want to be a legend. I want to be remembered as one of the greatest of all time.
How do you see the Dos Anjos fight and Conor? How do you see that fight unfolding?
It's a tough fight. Conor going up a weight, but Conor is a big boy. He had hard time making 45, that's probably why he wanted to go up for a little bit, and relax from the weight cut. So we see what happens, I don't know, it's I think we're gonna see Rafael dos Anjos, what Rafael did to the last 2 strikers he fight, put on a crazy pace, try to catch him with something, and and try to finish him, and then you get the same Conor McGregor, he's gonna go in there and try to land his left hand. So we see who can put their game plan to work for us and see who wins.
How's the UFC Hawaii campaign coming?
I think the UFC Hawaii campaign is coming great. I think the event is gonna happen this year. I feel super confident it's gonna happen this year. You know, now that BJ's back, you know, I think that it helps push that much more too. You know, so I think it's gonna happen this year. So you know, get you guys surfboard, you guys board shorts ready, you guys slippers, you guys tank tops, and keep talking about hashtag UFC Hawaii. Tell Dana, tell Lorenzo, and you know, keep bothering them to the point where they're like, I'm just sick of it. We just do it anyway. You know, so.
What will it mean to you when, I don't even want to say if, because it feels like when that happens, to be the guy that, you know, they built that around and that has been pushing for it?
You know, it's gonna feel amazing. You know, I get to fight in front of my family and friends. You know, I get to be at home. You know, I get to drive at home, sleep in my own house. You know, if sleep in my own bed, I don't have to stay at the hotel if I choose I don't want to. You know, I can go to my gym and do my workouts with my coaches at my gym. You know, I don't have to take them away from their lives for 1 week. So it's everything. You know, it feels great for accomplishment, and it's just gonna feel good just being. There's nothing like smelling Hawaiian air, you know, wherever you're from. I'm sure, you know, it's nothing like home, you know, and it's I wouldn't be able to explain it, you know. It's I haven't fought back home since my early pro days, and I think that's 2010. So I can't wait to go back home and fight in front of my people.
Being such an elite level athlete, and then you have the restriction of your hand or other injuries, what do you do to maintain a sharp skill set, being healthy, staying in the best possible shape, considering you can't do all the things you normally like to do in training?
There's this thing called social media. And, you know, when you see other people in shape and you see other people working hard and you see you guys writing about other fighters or whatever, it checks yourself, you know, it checks me. I'm like, holy shit, I better not be getting too much out of weight, you know, I better stay shape, you know, so as soon as I heal, I want to get back in there and still be this elite athlete, you know. So, you know, it's self-belief and, you know, self-encouragement, you know. You just got to believe in yourself and you know, and I use it as like, man, I see someone working, I want to work harder, so I can say there's no doubt in my mind that I'm working harder than him or her or whoever, you know.
In the meantime, is it all one-arm push-ups, squats, and sit-ups?
Yeah, you know, we're doing a lot of stuff, you know. The only thing I can't do is grab weights too much and hold it on my palm to push it, you know, so. But we're doing. My coach been helping me find out a lot of different ways to do it. So we're getting around it, and I'm keeping shape. You know, I'm still stretching, working my flexibility. I can kick, of course. You know, I do jiu-jitsu and go through the motions. You know, I'm not trying to rub nobody's face off. You know, but yeah, you know, it's just you always gotta find a way. You know, I always tell people. You know, it's like. If you come into a problem and you just stop, then you know what is gonna happen. You know, it's like if you gotta get to the other side of a river, but there's no bridge. You know, what do? You know, there's other ways. You know, there's a boat. You build a boat, build a raft, or look for a swing or something, or try to jump it. Go put wings on you or something. You know, figure out a way. You know, find a way.
A fight that makes a lot of sense for you seems like a fight with Jose Aldo, but Jose's been very firm in wanting a rematch with Conor. Do you think he deserves an immediate rematch?
You know. He's been the champ for so long, you know, I don't see why not. The only thing I see is that he got hurt, you know, that first fight, you know, that kind of costed a lot, and then that 13-second fight, you know, it sucks, but I think that injury is what put into play, but, you know, he said he'd fight for a title and whatever, you know. We see how this Conor McGregor goes stuff and see how long more he wants to fight after his next fight, and why not do an interim versus you know, Aldo and Holloway, you know, in Hawaii. That'd be freaking ideal, you know. So we see, you know, I have no comment on that. You know, I'm not the UFC, you know. All I know is that they send me contracts, they send me checks, and I hope they sign it, you know. I hope I get 2 checks at the end of the night.